Eric Bolling and Brett Favre on everything from politics and sports to business and culture.
This year has been insane.
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
That man right there, number 4, Brett Favre.
First NFL completion, and it's to himself.
It's big time and prime time.
That's why Brett Favre is Brett Favre.
Yep. Now it's Bolling with Favre.
Here we go, Brett. Welcome back. We're going to talk about some weather. I hear it's getting crazy out there. You got to get to iTunes, guys. You got to get there and rate the show, review the show on iTunes, and guess what? If you get a cool review and Brett and I pick it up, and you might win the autographed Brett Favre jersey May 15th. We're going to give a jersey away to the coolest or the most interesting and the most catchy review that we can get. So go ahead, get to iTunes, rate us, and review us. Brett, man, welcome back. What a week we've had.
It seems like not a week ago that we were doing this. It seems like a month. I guess that's because so much has accumulated between the two shows.
Yeah. So one of the big things, and we wanted to talk about, one of the big things, at least sports-wise, has been this whole drama back and forth with Aaron Rodgers and the Packer organization. And who better to weigh in on that than Mr. Brett Favre, number 4 Hall of Fame quarterback. Just what's your overview on it? We'll get into some of the nitty gritty of it, but what's your overview on what's going on? What do you think?
Well, even though I went through somewhat of a similar situation, I'm an outsider in this situation, meaning I'm not really privy to. Only thing I know is basically what I hear or have read. So I'm just like every other fan. But I do know that this has sort of been brewing since the last draft. If you go back to the first round pick they drafted last year, Jordan Love, who I may end up being a great player. But it was a little bit of a head scratcher to me. Again, I'm not in no way bashing Jordan Love. I mean, great, achievement for him to be drafted in the first round. But they lost the NFC Championship game, that 2 seasons ago. And you could make the argument that they were a player or a play, maybe a couple plays away from being in the Super Bowl. They got arguably the greatest playmaker in the game today, and he can get it done. But he felt like he needed a little more help. What that help was, could it be a utility back who's good at running, but also out of the backfield, who's really a dual threat. You can isolate on backers or safeties, mismatches, or is it a slot receiver? Fast forward, they do nothing. They get a quarterback. And again, that situation is very similar to mine when Aaron was drafted. There is one big difference. The year we drafted Aaron, the previous year we had a bad year. I think we may have had a losing season, but it was not anything to say, well, they were so close. Why, Right. So in this case, it's like from an organization standpoint, and I don't know that organization now well enough to be for or against them, but it sends the message, in my opinion, that you're not that you don't want to win now, but it sends the message that we're worried about our future.
Let me ask you from a business standpoint, because since you've been there, the Packer quote unquote organization has evolved into a corporation, right? So there was always, in pro sports, there's an owner, general manager, coaches, et cetera, and there's always someone that could make a decision, as tough as a decision needed to be made, sometimes it would be made by a person, either a general manager or an owner, and Jerry Jones would make the call, or a GM somewhere in Oakland, whatever. But when the organization now is a board of directors, and then there's shareholders, everyone seems to be nervous or afraid to just make the tough call. Is the tough call, we'll trade Aaron, or is the tough call, tell Aaron, shut the F up and go play football? I don't know, but it seems like everyone's afraid, looking over their shoulder, like no one wants to piss off Aaron Rodgers, and no one also wants to screw the shareholders. It seems like there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
No, well, yeah, that's the dynamics in Green Bay from the front office management perspective. It is different. There isn't a one owner. If I remember correctly, if say the Packers were sold for $4 billion, I think that would go to Knights of Columbus. Way back when his contract was signed for $100 or something.
Yeah.
And who would have ever thought it would turn into this, gigantic organization. And even from the time when I first got there, the stadium held 56,000. I thought the facilities were nice. They were a little dated, but it's like in 30 years, just become this enormous spectacle, which is impressive. But, the board, executive committee, whatever you want to call it, no one really ever knows who's making the calls. I mean, Mark Murphy is the president now. Brian Gutenhurst, I think, is the GM football operations. The question is, of the three, the executive committee, Mark Murphy, Gutenhurst, who is calling these shots?
Yeah.
I think by title and assumption, it would be the GM.
Right, but here's the caveat being with the Green Bay Packers being a publicly traded corporation rather than a privately owned team, whatever entity, like most of the other sports, is that these guys are making decisions. Obviously they want to win football games. Clearly you want to win a Super. That's your goal, but they're also worried about the boardroom and the shareholders. That's an added little question mark. I mean, rather than what they may normally do. Let me ask you this, Brett. Do you think Aaron? So let me just give you some observations. Look, I'm a football fan. I watch quarterbacks.
First, before you get into that, I guess the question is, why, if you got down to just the nitty gritty, why is Aaron Rodgers upset? Is it because they haven't drafted immediate need help, or even shown, that they care about that? Like, hey, we tried to get this free agent. We, even if they didn't act like you did, it is the question that, or is it that he, with his contract coming up very soon, is he wanting more money than Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson? He may be making that now. I don't even know what his contract is, but maybe he wants more guaranteed money. I guess that is the $1 million question. Like, what is the issue?
What's the play here? Is it just he's really? Can I read Terry Bradshaw's comment? I mean, I think this sums it up for me. Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw said Monday in an appearance on Moose and Mag WFAN, quote, "Who the hell cares who you draft? I mean, he's a 3-time MVP. They're talking about Rodgers in the league, and he's worried about this guy they drafted last year at number 1. And for him to be upset, my God, I don't understand that. Pittsburgh drafted Mark Malone, number 1, Cliff Stout in the 3rd or 4th round. I had them coming at me from all angles. I embraced it because when we went to practice, I wasn't worried about those guys. They didn't scare me a bit. So I don't understand why he's so upset at Green Bay. And if they fire the general manager, he'll come back. And are you kidding me? Really, Aaron, well, where is this? What's this all about? And he said, here's what I would do, Bradshaw's saying. I wouldn't budge. Let him gripe, let him cry, let him retire. You're 38. This means I assume Terry Bradshaw's talking about management. Let him retire. You're 38. Go ahead and retire. See you later. I mean, I'm really strong about stuff like that, and it makes him look weak. In my way of looking at it, it makes him look weak. So Bradshaw's.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair assessment. But I think again, if I caution anyone of making assumptions that, I mean, maybe his, disgruntled nature or anger or animosity or whatever is something else, something that we don't know about. And knowing Aaron, and I think I know him fairly well. If he has a grudge, whether it be against the organization or a player or an arch rival or family, friends, he ain't budging. I don't see him coming back and saying, if this is not resolved, whatever the issue is, if it's not resolved, or even if it's resolved, but he feels like they got one up on him, he ain't gonna play. Knowing Aaron, he would sit. Now it's not, he would forego a lot of money, but he's also got a lot of money, so he can.
Yeah, but see, and he comes off that way, man. Again, you know him personally. You're inside an NFL, but I'm looking at the outside, and I'm just gonna make an observation. I'm gonna make a human observation, fan, but human observation. He comes off like quarterbacks, like you and Brady, and quarterbacks, Roethlisberger. They'll have a grudge. You can see that on their face, but the grudge is to win the game. The grudge is to be better and to kick some ass, right? Aaron Rodgers strikes me as, it's like he's pissed off all the time. Like there's no camaraderie with the other. It doesn't feel like there's any camaraderie with the other guys. It doesn't feel like we're going to kick their ass or we're going to win. It just feels like he almost like he's acting like the whole success of everything is because of him and it's on him. So maybe there's a lot of pressure. Give him the benefit of doubt. There's a lot of pressure in that role, but I don't know. As a guy, it doesn't seem like he's a good teammate. It's just an observation.
Well, I even though I played with him for 3 years, it was different roles. Obviously, I was a starter, and he was just a young kid finding his way, and he was fine. I knew then, just watching him up close and personal, that he had tremendous potential, great arm strength, great accuracy. It was, when a guy is young and trying to find his way, you can't gauge what kind of teammate they are at that point. It's when they become the guy, whatever position that is, an up and coming receiver, up and coming running back, lineman, an up and coming lineman. He's one of five. And say he's starting right away. He's not going to be, Mr. Vocal, rah, rah, rah. He may be a little bit of a, somewhat of a vocal guy, but you're kind of finding your way. So it was hard for me to gauge what type of teammate he is. I do know this, without him, say he doesn't play this year, I think you see a totally different Packer team. And
am I wrong about the teammate assessment though? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I don't think Aaron. I think Aaron. In fact, I know he's a very private person. Yeah. Now, look, when I quit drinking in '98, I became a lot more private than I was when I was drinking. I thought I was the life of the party, and then when I got around people drinking when I was not drinking, I realized I'm not as near as much fun as I thought I was. So I kind of, and the older you get, the more reclusive I think you become.
He just did 2 weeks as a host of Jeopardy. He's engaged to Shailene Woodley, a star. he's trying to hide. He's not doing a good job.
He and I, we had a strained relationship, to say the least. And I think it was the media made it out to be bigger than it was. Now, do I talk to Aaron much now? every so often we'll exchange text or we actually will talk on the phone, which is in today's world, which is rare. And he's always been super nice to me. I did some interviews for him in his documentary, which is has not come out yet for NFL Films. And you know, I've heard your assessment from other people as well. Like, what kind of guy is Aaron Rodgers? And I don't know what kind of teammate he is today. I don't know. I just know that, you know, as an organization, they know him much better than I do. And you got to, you know, for better or for worse. And maybe I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but maybe he isn't the best teammate. I think he threw 48 touchdowns and 4 picks. And quite frankly, could have gone into the Super Bowl again. And maybe a few mistakes that he made didn't help him in the last game, or maybe a player or two added to the mix may have. I don't know, but I don't know what the argument is over. You know, we can assume, and we've talked about the 2 reasons that we think.
You know, Brett, when I'm hearing him, I'm just thinking, when you take a step back, Aaron Rodgers he's clearly a Hall of Fame career. He's most of the MVPs. He's got Super Bowl rings. I mean, why wreck yourself every day being pissed off? You got the world by the balls, right? You got the world just loving you. You're one play away from the Super Bowl. One play away. It's not like you're out there and you're giving your best and you don't have any support and the team looks like shit. You're a great freaking team and you're a great player, and you know you're approaching the end of your career. Why be mad? Why be pissed off? I mean, I would think you'd take all the pressure off and just start, you know, slinging the ball downfield and having some fun. Observation.
Yeah, again, you're spot on. I don't know the answers to those questions. You know, this is in today's game. There's no reason he's 38. Okay, what does that mean? I don't think it means a whole lot compared to other players that are now. Tom Brady being one of them, Drew Brees another one. I played. I think athletically, Aaron at 38 is probably not as beat up as I was at 38. But he can still do. I think he's better right now than he's ever been, physically and mentally, which is scary for opponents. You know, don't you know the people that are in the division and the conference are going, stay out, don't play. Hate on the Packers. Whatever you got to do, just don't play.
All your friends, right? All your pals. All right. Hey, some other stuff. Can we do a little bit? There's a lot of other things that are just a little off the top of my head because we've been talking about this since the show started 3 months ago. Ethereum, Brett, Ethereum. The other cryptocurrencies that we've been talking about. 3,400. It was $1,100 the first day we talked. We started the show. We've been talking Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I pointed out a new record today, 3,400. And the reason why I think this is kind of interesting, there's another cryptocurrency called Dogecoin. This is wild, Brett. This started as a meme, a joke by some gamer who got dumped off one of his games. He got pissed off. So he developed this thing called Dogecoin. It's a cryptocurrency. Dogecoin, Elon Musk jumped on the Dogecoin. And I just noticed that the Oakland A's just took Dogecoin for seats. And now Dogecoin has gone from this obscure little thing to like a 50 or $60 billion asset right now. And this kid, a gamer who developed it, just turned billionaire today because he developed Dogecoin. I mean, these cryptos, again, we'll talk about Poncho.
Yeah, you know, I told you my son-in-law won in a raffle, won Ethereum.
Yeah.
And
it's tripled.
So what is the number today? What is 1 Ethereum worth?
Well, 1 unit was when we started talking about when you're friend, or I can't remember who it was, but one Ethereum it was trading around $1,200. It's now 3,400. Oh, so almost a triple since that win. So whatever the value was.
I think he's been offered somewhere around 220,000 for it.
Yeah. Well, the day he got it, triple it and say, I'm not taking a penny less than whatever that number is. So
now,
yeah.
Along those same lines and I bring this up because I think it's paid in cryptocurrency, but these NFTs that are becoming, Am I correct that a lot of them are being paid in cryptocurrency?
Only in crypto and only in Ethereum. And so what we're talking, we can talk about a little bit. We're Brett and I, and we're talking about doing some NFTs and working some NFT business worked out where we can just have a little fun with NFTs. Non-fungible tokens is what NFT stands for. And it's any piece of content, whether it's artwork or a jersey or a picture or an interview, anything that's digital, or you can make it digital, becomes an asset, and they're bought and sold with Ethereum, but it's called a non-fungible token. And so we're going to have a little fun with that. I think we're going to have some fun.
And one of the things, the question is, what do you think will be a popular NFT? And I think I even mentioned to you, I think it's hard to place a value on it. I have the only signed picture this is a picture that in November, I think in 2015, my jersey was retired on Thursday night. Football, it was horrible weather, but it was Green Bay weather. And Bart Starr had been, his health had been declining. And I wanted him to be there for it. The previous year was when it was scheduled, and Bart was not able to travel. So we canceled it to the next year, and hoping that by chance, maybe he would be better. And that week, lo and behold, he was able to travel. So we did a sit down. Aaron had to play in a couple hours, but we all put on our jerseys. We all sat on a stool, and we took this awesome picture of the three of us, knowing that would be the last time it would ever happen, and the first time it's ever happened. And I was smart enough I said, when this picture developed, I want it sent straight to Bart. And whenever he can sign it, I'd love for him to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
And so all three of us have signed it, and no one else has got that. And I thought maybe that would be a great NFT.
Yeah, that not only a great NFT. There's probably, and we'll work on this because we have some ideas. Brito and you are putting something together with that whole. Maybe it's more than just the picture, Brett. Maybe it's that moment. Maybe it's the TV moment, or when the three of you are there and create it digitally and create an NFT around it. But it is unique, and it's one of a kind, and that's the cool thing about the NFTs, that every time someone buys it, someone else wants it. Every time it's negotiated, the NFT creates a value to the originator. So we'll have we'll get into that. We'll be doing some of that. Can I just make one more point about some of the weird shit that's going on in the world? And we talked about this before we came on, but this whole mask situation, I'm not getting into the political aspects of it. I'm just going to tell you, I went to New York this week for the first time since before the COVID-19. New York, I was blown away. It's like The Walking Dead there. The streets are empty. The few people who are on the streets, and it's eerie because you have this massive city that's normally. I was on 3rd Avenue and 50th Street. I was hosting a show for Newsmax, and I spent the day there. There's no people on the street. Normally on a Friday midday, there'd be literally hundreds, if not thousands of people that you would cross on a street at any given time. No one. And the weird thing was, I was walking down the street at one point. Now I'm coming from South Carolina, where no one's really wearing a mask outside. You wear it inside when you're told to, and normally. But I'm walking on the street, and no one's on the street. A lady's walking my way, and I happen to have just taken a sip of whatever, Diet Pepsi, and I hadn't put my mask back on. She literally, instead of walking on a 12-foot wide sidewalk, she walked onto the street to go around me because somehow I was going to infect her by outside being 10 feet apart from her. It's crazy how the difference in New York versus not everywhere else, but at least certainly this part of the South.
Yeah, I did I think it was last week, I did maybe 2 weeks ago, a little segment with Martha McCallum, Fox. And we talked about that. And it's, to me, it's amazing how we're in the United States, by the way. So we're all together, but how different people's perspective or what they hear has made such a vast difference demographically. Mississippi, the numbers have gone, considerably down. We don't have a mask mandate. Our schools, now I'm not knocking anyone else, but our schools have stayed open all year long.
Yeah.
All sports were played on time, just like normal.
Yeah.
And without any problems. So I just want people to know that it's not like, well, look at Mississippi, they don't have mask mandate, you don't want to go there. We have pretty much gone, and you do see people wear masks, and that's fine. If you choose to wear one, fine. But the numbers have gone considerably down. It's so impressive how, and our governor, Tate Reeves, has done a wonderful job of managing all this mess, and it's worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just thought it was odd that New York, people asking me, is New York ever coming back? When's New York coming back? And I don't know if it's ever going to come back. I don't think New York is going to, it was such a gritty, gutsy place. And you felt like I lived there for 35 years. It's like every day you made it through a day in New York, you're like, I accomplished something. I made it. It's that tough. And now it just feels like it's not even it's not cool anymore. It's not even worth the fight.
What's better than courtside seats? Free sports on Pluto TV. Hey, sports fans, get all your sports free on Pluto TV. Pluto TV is your home for sports. Watch 24/7 channels of MLB, MLS, MMA, sports news and analysis, plus documentaries, TV shows, and movies, all for free. No signups, no fees, no contracts, ever. Download the free Pluto TV app on any device.
Hey, brother, Tim Tebow wants to make a comeback. He wants to come back and wants to play football again. He wants to play. He wants to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's trying out with the Jaguars. Obviously, they got the first round, the quarterback, Clemson quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. What do you think of Tebow making a comeback?
Why not? If he can play.
Tight end.
I think the connection with he and Urban Meyer certainly has helped his case. Mm-hmm. Urban knows what type of player, what type of talent, what type of character, what type of teammate he would be. And all those are an asset. I don't think people shouldn't look into, well, he's been out of football for so long, or he's going to.
But here's what we need. We need Brett's brilliance on this. You're the quarterback. Do you think he can make the switch, Tebow, to tight end? This is where he wants to play.
Well, I think physically, yes. But, and I think from an intellectual standpoint, absolutely. Mm-hmm. The guy played quarterback, so he understands routes, route trees, combination, coverages, things like that. His problem was, from a quarterback standpoint, his mechanics were, look, no one can question his leadership and tenacity, and just, he wanted to win, and sometimes he willed his team on to win. But the question is, can he beat man coverage? Can he beat combination coverage? Can he, or is he one-dimensional? Meaning, we need someone to block also. We know he can run. He can probably run as fast as most tight ends, and probably can catch. But can he beat man coverage? Can he block, a stud defensive end long enough to get an edge? That's what they're, I think I saw where he's working out with the tight end coach maybe now. And although you can't really tell a whole lot from blocking a dummy, they'll get a good, I envision him being in training camp, and whether or not he makes the final cut remains to be seen. I personally, I think he'll make the final cut, because here's why I think. Say he's an okay tight end, got good hands, runs very well, questionable in route running, questionable in blocking, but I can use him as a backup punt protector. I can use him on kickoff team. I can use him on kickoff return team. I could even use him on defense if I was low on numbers, or an H-back. So his versatility is second to none.
Let me ask you, Brett, since we're on the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence gets drafted #1 quarterback. What are the awesome Clemson quarterback? What are the challenges of a young quarterback? And does Trevor jump any of those challenges, being, the size he is, and the quickness and the amount of, skills that he's bringing to the game? Can he be successful first year?
Well, I think you have to, what is success? Not getting hurt. I don't envision, I assume he'll play day one, because nowadays you see a lot of these rookie quarterbacks come in and they play right away. And I've talked about this. I think they're much more equipped, because the offense is Urban Meyer's the coach. He's a college guy. A lot of the stuff that is run across the college football nation, NFL teams have adopted. See, when I came into the league, it was the opposite. You had to adapt to the NFL pros offense. That's not, under center, you were I formation, you were ISO leads and powers and stuff like that. And then third down, you were more of an open offense. Now it's like they're going, maybe the terminology is the only thing different than what they did in college, but the offense is the same: RPOs, shotguns. So from that standpoint, it won't be a big change. What will be a big change, I don't foresee them going 14-2, and I'm not knocking Jacksonville at all. I think it's going to be a slow, steady climb. That being said,
you make a good point, Brett. Staying healthy.
The storm, at Clemson, he can count on one hand the times they've lost in his career.
Yeah, and I think twice, and the only other time besides the championship game, it was when he had COVID and he sat out. So I think he only lost one game in 4 years.
Yeah. So how do you handle that?
Joe Burrow. Look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's came in same way, same hype. Remember LSU? He's going to light it up. Goes to Cincinnati with a 2-14 record or something crazy like that, and gets hurt game 3 or game 4. And you're right. Because I guess you're not used to the speed and the size of the NFL players. Even if you're a national champion at LSU.
Yeah, that's certainly something that you face. I think Joe Burrow was doing an excellent job of manufacturing points. I mean, he didn't disappoint at all, and unfortunately he got hurt, but he'll be fine. That's when you're on an okay team, and one of the downsides of being a great college player and projected high top 10 pick is you generally go to a worse team.
Yeah.
And you have to weather the storm. And that is from a physical aspect. You get a little bit beat up, Trevor, but also do you handle the adversity of, man, I hate losing. And, maybe it's not up to your statistics. The most important statistic is the wins-loss category. We know that. And if he can win 8 to 10 games as a starter this year, I mean, give that guy the key to the city.
Yeah.
But if you don't, how do you handle that? That's the question.
And how does Jacksonville build an offensive line around him so he doesn't get hurt? And have they? That's something I don't even know.
Yeah,
I'll
answer that question. I assume because they drafted Trevor Lawrence that their number one need that to get them over the hump is a quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all assume that. Otherwise, why would you draft him? But I don't know enough about Jacksonville to know if their offense. I think, I'll go off of this. Most of the games they lost last year, and they lost a lot of games, were close. That's very encouraging. It wasn't a blowout every week. They had a couple of games that got away from them. But I think, when it rains, it pours in that case. So if they got a decent line, with a really good line coach, you can get by. Assuming that that's so, will there be a rapport, a chemistry right away with he and the skilled guys, and enough to where you can manufacture points? I think that's the bigger issue. I don't think that he's going to have the freedom that he had at Clemson in the pocket. Maybe he will, but I don't foresee that. So he's going to have to rely. We're going to see a little more of what he's made of than we saw at Clemson. At Clemson, he had the best of the best across the board with him. And they were far superior to every opponent they played except for Ohio State or Alabama. So every team he plays is probably going to be the favorite to win. So we'll see how he's going to have to pull a few more tricks out of his hat consistently to get it done.
I think if I'm GM at Jaguars, I spend a couple of years building some protection for him than worrying about. I mean, this is the way we live now, right? The quarterback, number one draft pick quarterbacks like these guys, you expect to have them stick around for 10 or 15 years, and maybe not looking to, jump into playoffs right away. Maybe you're looking to build a team, build some, pocket around them, and then start looking at skilled players later.
Well, I forgot to mention this. My really good friend and former coach, Darrell Bevel, is the offense coordinator.
Oh, okay.
Darrell was my offense coordinator in Minnesota, and he was also my offense coordinator and quarterback coach in Green Bay. We're same age, great guy, very brilliant offensive mind, but it's very simple. He's not, depending on where you go, you can get a complicated. One of the first plays I learned in the West Coast offense was Brown left tight close, Z right, sprint right solid, Z quick drag. There was only two guys doing anything other than blocking, me and Sterling Sharp. Now that's 60. I think that's 16 words. And I just remember thinking, now I can rattle it off easy now. But I remember when that play was taught to me, I was like, can we scale that down to like Sterling sprint?
Yeah. So it's Sterling is doing a fly, and the rest of those are blocking patterns.
Everybody else is blocking, and I'm sprinting out to the right.
That's great. That's great.
So in other words, you can make things a little bit difficult by, all right, the hardest, first day, Trevor, the hardest thing you're going to do here or face is not the defense of the Tennessee Titans. It's the terminology that you don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want to complicate it. So simplifying things to where it makes sense right away, because the last thing you want is for any player to be thinking as he's dropping back or running his route.
Right.
And coaches do that. Not all coaches do it, but some coaches do.
Yeah.
They outcoach themselves.
Yeah, I'll say. Before we go, Brett, Kentucky Derby weekend. I don't know if you were there or not, but I saw Brady there. Mr. TB12 was there.
I wasn't, but one day I'll get there. I'm actually doing a 3-year deal with a company called Twin Spires. Who
they own the Derby, right?
Yeah, great guys.
So a lot of ads, yeah.
I filmed a commercial there about a month ago. First time I'd ever been there, and it was like me and the crew in this, I don't know, 300,000 seat or capacity venue
Yeah.
It was really cool to see.
Yeah, we saw Brady there. He was styling. He had the hat on. He looked really
See,
good.
I wouldn't make it in something like that because I got zero pizzazz. I'd go just like this.
I think that would catch a lot of cameras also, though. Brett's there.
Would.
That's just it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, brother, always a great week. A lot more to talk about next week. Let's talk. Hey, your friend Luke Bryan coming on next week. We're looking forward to that. So many people looking forward to that.
Yeah, Luke's a great guy, and we'll talk about how we met and his what he's doing now. You see him on American Idol. He does a wonderful job.
Yeah.
For those listening, Luke was coming on several weeks ago, and the day of or the day before, right, Eric?
Yeah, the day before he had to step away from Idol. Obviously,
Yeah, because I guess tested positive for Corona. In fact, he sent me a message apologizing that he said his voice was terrible, and my response was, "This may be my chance to out-sing you."
We're still waiting for that, Brett. We're waiting for your Harry Carey and you're singing. You're singing.
Holy cow!
There it is.
That's it.
I got to add to my my verbiage. Holy cow is about where it stops right now.
No, I don't think so. I heard a little bit more of it last time. It's going to be good. We're going to get that. But if the best part of the Kenny Chesney interview for me, which we did a couple of weeks ago, was the story about how you two were the first time you met. You were on Chesney's bus and it caught on fire.
Yeah, totaled his bus. I don't know how. I don't know if he ever got an answer of what happened. I mean, it was just sitting there. The AC was running, but you couldn't write. You couldn't write a script any crazier than that.
And then we'll find out how you met Luke Bryan and how that friendship started and has progressed. All right, man. Good week. Good talking to you. And can't wait to talk to Luke Bryan next week. And we'll see you then, everybody.
Yeah.
And don't forget, rate the show. Go to iTunes. Go to the podcast. Click the podcast area on iTunes and rate and review the podcast. You might win a Brett Favre signed jersey. Brett?
I'll sign it. Yeah, you're right. Enjoy the show.
NFTs. We'll make NFTs, brother. All right. See you next week, everybody.